All right, so we got the crew ready to talk some Halloween ends. Obviously, Kill and Coriander back with me after we did our Friday 13th stream. We also got Zoe, special guest Zoe,
What's up,
and also
everybody?
yeah, and also Crystal.
Hello.
How are you guys doing? And first of all, just thanks so much for joining us on this episode. It's really, really cool to have you guys guesting with us.
Oh yeah, no doubt, man. Thank you for having me.
Yeah,
Hey,
I'm excited. I'm excited for this.
absolutely. And we might have one other person come in, but we're gonna get going and get going on this discussion a little bit. But let's see who we got in the chat, and we'll get going with this. Andre's in the chat. Then wait. You just finished the Friday the 13th live, and now you're doing a Halloween Ends live. Bravo. Hey, you know, that's what we're trying to do, man. Got to make moves. Ghostface is back with us. Cannot wait until Halloween ends.
Yeah.
Cool.
Yep.
Very cool. Very, very cool. It should be good, honestly.
Let's
That's what I'm
hope, man.
hoping. Absolutely. Ghostface saying, I personally think Laurie will die, though, because Jamie Lee made a tweet basically saying goodbye to the franchise. So I think that she will die and Michael will live.
Okay.
We'll definitely get into some of that. Absolutely. I shot him 6 times. What's going on? Hey, Nightwatch. Just wanted to stop in and say hey to you and Val and show y'all some love. Val should be in here soon. Hopefully. She said she was running a little late, but thank you so much. What's up, Dan? Dan's in the chat. 9 votes in the poll and 9 likes already. Yeah, we're ahead of the game. Ahead of the game. Waffles, what's up, man? What's up? Ben Tramer back again with the Renegade Master.
What's up,
Denise
Denisha?
is saying, hey, Zoe and Crystal.
Hey.
All right. Keith saying James Hugh Courtney is the best Michael Myers. Look, he is amazing. There's no doubt about that. No doubt.
He's up there for sure, no doubt.
He is. He is. And now before we get going, real quick, I want to do this before we get into what we want in the movie. Let's just start off with just because we had a poll asking if we think this movie is going to be great. Okay, not good, but great. So I just want to go around with you guys real quick. I'll start with you, Coriander, then Zoe, then Kill, then Crystal. Do you think Halloween Ends is going to be great? And if so, why? And if not, why?
That's tough. I mean, I hope so. I
Mhm.
want it to be great.
Mhm.
So, yeah, I'll keep my fingers crossed. That's all I'm going to say.
Okay. All right. What about you, Zoe?
So Halloween 2018 I thought was really good. Halloween Kills was very polarizing to say the least. It kind of split the fan base a little bit. I myself enjoyed it. I see the flaws in it, but I still think it's a great popcorn flick. But with Ends, I hope it's going to be good, but I'm cautiously optimistic. That's the best way I can kind of describe my feelings going into this film. I'm excited, but I'm kind of taming my expectations a little bit because there's a lot of conflicting reports about this movie, about what's going to happen, how it's going to end, how they're going to end these characters. And I really don't know, but I think that's a good thing. I'm glad I don't know anything going into this movie so far, at least. It is only May, so.
Right. We got a long way to go. How about you, Kill?
Look, there's no lying here. I don't think it's gonna be great. I want it to be great, and I'm gonna tell you why I don't think it's gonna be great. Because you're not gonna satisfy and make everyone happy. Because I want Laurie to run off into the sunset and to have closure, but I don't think she's gonna get it. And if she dies, there's gonna be a contingent of us that are gonna be super sad. If Michael dies, some of us are gonna be super sad. So I just think, sort of like what Zoe said with the last movie, it polarized the fan base so much that this one is just gonna splinter it. But I still love the franchise and I hope it's great.
But there's one way that all that can happen and it won't really matter. And I'll Crystal, you know what I'm talking about, but we'll get to that later on. It's one of those wacky theories. But Crystal, what about you?
I'm praying it's great. Again, people are gonna hate, people are gonna love it, people are gonna hate it. anything with Michael, people love to hate on the franchise. It's like one of those legacy franchises people have strong opinions about.
That's
But
right.
I'm praying that it's good. I'm praying that it checks all the boxes.
Mm-hmm.
I'm praying that it's like had a vision. I feel like the way I'm seeing this unfold from the way 2018 happened, and like, you know, it seems like the climax, the pinnacle was like kills. Everything was like on 10 with all the kills, and it was this action, action, action. I feel like the arc is going to show us that this is going to be more of a calm movie, and it's just going to complete the story. And if people kind of like, you know, trust that process, that there was actually an outline for this, then maybe it can be good. You know, I good, but I don't know if it's going to go down as like the way I see 78. But you know, I think it's going to be a good closure of this particular timeline.
Yeah. No, I agree with that. I do think it'll be good. I mean, it just stands to reason that, you know, David Gordon Green is going to do make some good choices in this movie, especially because, you know, again, he understands the franchise, he understands the Carpenter movie very well, and I'm sure that he's going to use a lot of that as far as, you know, inspiration in this movie, you know, and as long as there's nothing that's done that's totally whack, you know, I think this movie is going to be good. I don't know if it's going to be great. I'd love it to be great. But I don't want to have, you know, expectations that aren't realistic, because to end a trilogy, it's always difficult. You know, it really is. And that's for any movie, any genre. And so, but I will say it's fun to think about this as a trilogy, because this is the first time that we've had a trilogy in the franchise. We've had movies 3 times. We've had movies that's basically a 1 and a 2, you know, Halloween 1 and 2, 4 and 5, and the zombie movies. You know, but this is the first time we got a 3 movie arc, and I think that's pretty damn cool. I really do. So I'm hoping it's going to be good. I really do. Dan saying ends won't need a lot of buildup or filler, so they can and hopefully will get down to some Halloween action. Yeah, I want to see more stalking.
I agree.
In the shadows, you know, Michael just, you know, doing what he does, but, you know, kills was just bombastic, which was fine for what it was. But I definitely do think this one is going to be pulled back quite a bit. I really do.
Yeah, it kind of needs that reset. That's what I thought the original was so scary, is that it's more of a slow burn. It's Michael creeping around, stalking babysitters, and that's scary to me. Just someone creeping outside your window, staring at you with that blank mask. Like that's terrifying. Like if you just, you know, you're doing your laundry, and then you see this this guy standing in his jumpsuit. Like that would scare anyone.
Yeah, poor Annie. Gosh, I tell you. All right. So we're gonna take a quick second to finish getting set up and giving folks another chance to get into the live chat if they choose to do so. Hopefully Val will be with us in a minute. So for you guys in the chat, for you guys watching the replay, sit back, relax. You know what time it is. All right, let's do it. Okay, so we're talking about what we want in Halloween Ends, and I'm sure that this could be all over the place. But hey, that's how we do things. Coriander, I'll start with you. We'll just kind of go around the panel. We'll start with you, and then Zoe, and then Kill, and then Crystal. Coriander, what's one thing that you need, that you want in Halloween Ends?
I want Laurie to finally kill Michael. That's what I want.
Oh, okay. Definitively, just kill him.
Yes.
For real. All right.
For real.
Okay. Do you think that what do you think is the chance that that's going to happen?
You know, I don't know, honestly, because who knows what's going to happen? I mean, we could all predict so many things, and who knows? You know, I hope that's what's going to happen, but probably not. You know, she's probably going to die, and you know, Michael will of course go on to do 8 more movies that who knows where they'll go with it. So I'm hoping it ends, and it ends now, you know, before they take it off to, you know, Jupiter. So yeah.
To Jupiter. Oh man. All right. Well, that's a good way to start this thing. Oh, okay. All right. How about you, Zoe? What's one thing at least that you want in this movie?
I would love to see Michael in space. You said Jupiter. I would love to see that.
You don't want to see him in space.
Oh, we've
Get
had
outta
Jason, we've had Leprechaun, so I throw Michael in there, you know.
That's true.
But mainly, I want them to kind of go against the grain. I want them to. Like, I rather them all die, like Michael, Allison, and Lori, than just have Lori kill Michael and her and Allison live. I feel like that's the ending that we're all expecting. If they
Right.
do something like a complete 180 or something different. I want that because I kind of know, or at least I think I know where this ending is going to. And if they do something and kind of subvert my expectations and make me go, wow, they're getting kind of ballsy here, they're doing something different. I just want something like that. I just want something unique. I just feel like it's very much like a template with these movies. You're expecting evil to not win against the good. And I want the kind of opposite. Maybe Michael kills them all or something. There's something new, something refreshing that we haven't seen in this franchise before.
Okay. All right. Cool. How about you, Kale?
You know, I want the Cult of Thorn to show
Stop.
up. And
Stop.
no.
Whoa.
Stop. hey, there you
Hot
go.
take. No.
We could be having
what I
that,
want-
guys. This could be what we've been having in this trilogy.
No.
Right. Go ahead, man.
No, seriously. What I want is Jamie Lee Curtis is a great actress, and she is this franchise. I want true closure for her, and for Laurie Strode. I think the only way that this actually could end, and I think the only way that everybody would kind of be like, it probably had to happen that way. Laurie has to sacrifice herself, and she kills Michael, and Michael kills her. They both die. Because they have been so intertwined, like through all of these decades, and it just has to end. So hey, Michael will finally get to kill her. She'll get to kill him, and her granddaughter can try to live through the PTSD of this. So
Okay. All right.
Oh, no.
All right. What about you, Crystal?
I kind of thought from 5 down to number 1, like backwards. I guess my first thing would be for Ends to take 2 steps back maybe and kind of clean up kills a little bit and mourning Karen and Ray, like Allison and Lori, kind of putting them to rest, because Allison went through some major shit and kills, and it's no big deal. You know what I mean? And I kind of want to see them process that, maybe for a 5-minute sequence, maybe a gravesite sequence. But let's be real, she has some real processing to do. Maybe during that 4-year jump, they kind of give us a little bit of a closure on the mom and the dad just for a minute, just to kind of clean that storyline up a little bit out of the trilogy. Have them just kind of show a little bit of real life in that, because Ray, the husband's getting killed outside and kills it, and Karen's like, "What's that?" She's like, "Don't worry about it." Basically, Lori's like, "Don't worry about it. Move on. Go down. Get down to the basement."
Yeah.
And it's but no, her husband's outside getting killed, and then and then it's there's a lot of dynamics there. So just a minute or 2 of that, just kind of clean that segment up a little bit.
Yeah, absolutely. No, I agree. I think for me, the biggest thing I want, and this is kind of like a general thing, I just want, because obviously I'm going to hopefully see this in theaters. I just want, when I leave the theater, right, when I walk out of that, when I push that door open to go back outside of the theater, I just want to be like, oh my gosh, wow, they did that, or they made that work. You know what I'm saying? To have that type of vibe, as far as the movie doing something kind of like what you were saying too, Zoe, doing something that was different and fresh, but also makes sense in the mythology of this very convoluted franchise. And that's one thing we'll touch upon as well. And of course, on the channel, we've talked about every single movie in the franchise. This franchise is so convoluted. There's 5 timelines and multiple this and multiple that. But I think that what's cool about this trilogy is it kind of refocused things into this story surrounding Lori, you know, her daughter, her granddaughter, and other characters. And I just hope that however it ends, and this, you know, we talked about this before we went live, there's a lot of ways that this thing could go. There's a lot of ways this thing should go, but nobody really knows yet 100%. But I just hope whatever it is, the choice that's made when I leave that theater, that, you know, I'm happy, and also, you know, I respect the choice that they made. That's hopefully fresh and different. You know, that's one of the biggest things for me. It really, really is. Real quick too, in the chat, we had a question that was really interesting. Robert was saying, what do you think David Gordon Green meant when he said that ends will be like Christine? Yeah, he did say it's going to have Christine vibes.
That's not good, because I'm not a real big fan of Christine. So,
well, this is and if you guys want to jump into, but I think what he meant about Christine, and this was already said as well, is that this is going to have kind of a coming of age feel to the movie. And in my opinion, I think you're definitely, I mean, obviously we got the two characters. We got Laurie Strode and we've got Allison. And I've talked about this in other videos where I think the two characters are going to go through a change and jump to the other side of the spectrum of what they were from 2018. Laurie was very hardened and very obsessed and paranoid and closed in. And Allison would always say
just that gun cleaning scene alone, when the 5-minute scene where she's cleaning those guns and cocking them and loading them, and
yeah, you know, she's a hardened person.
Yeah,
it was great. You know, and Allison, on the other hand, was saying, you know, let go of the boogeyman and this and that. I think in ends, I think they're going to be reversed. I think Allison is going to become a hardened person dealing with the trauma, the PTSD. And I think Laurie, this is a 4-year time jump. And I think Laurie is going to find some peace and try to let go of some of that obsession. Because, you know, like Frank told her, it isn't about you, you know, and I think that she's going to let go of some of that. I'm not saying she's going to be, you know, walking around dancing and singing songs, but I think she's going to be a lot closer to what we saw of her in 78. Just, you know, a little bit of a happier person. I think her and Hawkins will be together and so forth. So I think when they say coming of age and Christine, I think they're talking about the transformation that the two characters will have, especially Allison. You know, what do you guys think of that? Any thoughts on that? How it could reference to Christine?
I was trying to process that, because Christine, I don't see how you could borrow traits from that movie. I was thinking more of the supernatural-esque of the car maybe would kind of relate to Halloween Ends, but I don't know. I was thinking about that whole time when that question was brought up, how it would relate to Christine. Yeah. I'm not sure. I really don't. I'm kind of like perplexed on that one.
Yeah, I think what they mean, because in Christine, you know, Arnie is basically going through that transformation. You know, he's a dork. He's a loser. Yeah. You know, he's obsessed with Christine, and that changes who he is. That changes how he is.
So maybe it's like a 180 where it's like how like Arnie was like, it's like a reverse of what Arnie was going through, how Laurie was obsessed and then kind of gets over her obsession. That's what you're trying to say? Yeah,
I think so. But maybe even more importantly, Allison, because you got to remember changes. Allison, if you look at 2018, she was very optimistic, trying to help her grandmother, and kills. She becomes part of the mob, going after Michael, going right at the Shape. And I think when you go to Ends, she's going to be down here. She's going to be obsessed. She's going to be pissed. Okay. She's going to be depressed. She's going to be, you know, and it's because of Michael. I think she's going to be obsessed with Michael, just like Laurie was. And I think that's going to make Laurie try to help her granddaughter. Don't go down my path. I wasted 40 years of my life being obsessed over something that I didn't have to be obsessed with, because it wasn't about her in this timeline, right? So I think that's what they mean by the reference to Christine. Does that anyone else on that follow that? Or?
I agree. Yeah. I think that's very well said. I think Allison would be obsessed, because she's arguably lost more than Laurie has.
Absolutely.
I mean, she lost both of her parents, all of her friends, her boyfriend. I mean, it's just, she's lost so much. So you kind of, I think the beginning of Ends will kind of show how everyone's doing, how they're kind of recovering from this 4-year hiatus since Halloween Kills, because we don't really know what Michael's been doing for 4 years. So he could be kind of silently stalking people and killing people every now and then. And maybe the whole town is on edge and they're kind of like, is Michael alive? Is he dead? They don't really know. And then maybe Halloween night of Halloween ends, you know, he makes his grand reveal or something like that.
Could be. What about you, Coriander? Do you think, and I know you're not a fan of Christine, but do you think that that could be a way that they meant, you know, as far as Allison's obsession with Michael, just like Arnie's obsession with Christine, and how he transformed as a character throughout that movie? Do you think it could be like that, or what do you think?
I mean, if you think about it, how could it not? Because just like what's your name again? So was it Zoe?
Zoe. Yeah.
Yes. Just like he said, you know, everybody that she cared for died. So I can totally see role reversal here, and you know, so yeah.
Absolutely. I think so. Keith was saying in the trailer in Vegas, Laurie held the knife up to Michael's head, showing him his reflection in the knife blade, hints of him looking at his reflection staring out of the window. Yeah, I mean, they played with the whole idea of him staring, you know, out of the window and so forth. I do think it's going to be interesting too, how they kind of tackle that. And I know we might be going down a rabbit trail here, and I know, Crystal, you're not a big fan of you know, some of these things, but we gotta talk about it, man, because obviously everyone's, you know, been referencing the radio tower, you know, and here's the thing, guys, and if you've seen Kills enough times, well, probably even the first time, they showed that radio tower pretty prominently. Like, it's that wide shot of young Hawkins, you know, and his partner just standing right in front of it. Basically, like, it's almost like they were taking pictures of the radio tower. But do you think that, this is my next question for you guys, and I'll go around. I'll start with you, Crystal, and we'll just go around the other way. Do you think that they're going to go down that road as far as the whole idea of Michael staring at his reflection? You know, what does that mean? What could it mean? You know, the radio tower and so forth, because that's what a lot of fans are, including myself, are very nervous about. You know, if they kind of try to do too much explaining like they did in Curse of Michael Myers.
Well, I don't know if you've ever watched there's 78 Halloween, but there's also the TV aired version of Halloween 78, which is about 20 or 30 more minutes of the movie. And there's a substantial amount in the movie where they show Michael staring out the window catatonic. So that's like where they don't show that in the original 78. So that's part of his like shtick, kind of. So going by the extended movie, I'll take that. He likes staring at windows. I'll take that. But I don't like this hocus pocus silver shamrock mask, like radio tower stuff, because okay, he's the lucky one that gets the one silver shamrock mask that makes him possessed. Like the whole town, like he's the only one possessed by radio waves. I'm not going to buy that, because in this timeline, he was dormant from 78 to 2018. And those radio waves didn't stop. You know what I mean? Like, but he was dormant during those times. Also, the first kills that he does in 2018, he was maskless with the podcasters. So the mask didn't possess him to knock those guys' teeth out when he dropped him over that bathroom stall. Like, you know what I mean? So I don't see how they're going to make those connections, because he wasn't wearing a mask during some kills. He was dormant while the radio station was fully active. I don't know. I mean, if it's done right, but I just, there's already holes in it. There's holes that you can find in it easily just in the 3 movies. So maybe it's going to play a part in the finale. Maybe that's going to be an area where they have like maybe their last fight or a last confrontation. But the possession thing, I just can't get behind right now, because it's like, you know, it doesn't. If they're trying to do an ode to, you know, John Carpenter, that's just pulling things out of thin air from his original 78. I don't know. I'm torn about it. I mean, I guess there's a reason why they are highlighting it, but I am torn about it. Yeah.
What about you, Kel?
You know, look, I actually agree with Crystal. I don't want any silver shamrock in here. I love Halloween 3, with respect. But I feel this is doing its own thing. And if, you know, we're pulling stuff from Halloween 3, this was supposed to kind of nerf all of that stuff. You had the original 78, and now you have the 2018 one, and then so on and so on. But I will say with, the shape staring in windows and so forth, that's par for the course for Michael. Michael's a creeper, and and I love it. I love those tracking shots where all the kids are out for Halloween, and he's just walking. He's like gliding, just like this.
Yeah, having fun.
Just gliding, looking in. Okay, what are you fixing popcorn? I might come kill you, but let me just keep gliding, and and that's what he does. He just lingers, and he just rolls up on an elderly couple that's in their kitchen playing with their toys, and kills them all, and stabs a light bulb in your neck, and takes your drone. I'm taking this drone, it's mine now. So yeah, I don't know if I want to speculate too much on all the antenna play that's going on, but I am very curious. But no silver shamrock, please. Let's stay focused.
What about you, Zoe?
I think it's just strictly a location. I think we're at this point of the movie where I've kind of been in the YouTube game for a while, is when you're excited for a movie and you don't get a trailer yet and you know nothing about it, and you get these little nuggets of information and you grab it and you just theorize of what all it could be. I think it's just people looking way too into this. I strictly think it's a location. Maybe it's the ending of the film, the climax, whatever it may be. But I think people are just going, just having fun theories with it. But I think it's getting a little too out of hand at this point. Like some of these theories, they're cool and all, but I think they're a little bit too ambitious for what this film is going to be.
How about you, Coriander?
I think he's waiting for a signal from Texas for that chili contest, for some chop top chili.
Oh gosh.
That's what I think.
Okay.
No, I think hopefully it's nothing, honestly, because if they make it into something absurd, that's going to be too bad, because there's nowhere anywhere besides in the third Halloween that it had to do with anything with the radio tower. So or a signal. So
right.
Hopefully it's nothing.
It just wouldn't really fit this trilogy, because Halloween 3 is its own thing. It's not connected really that well. So I just think it'd be way too weird for them to bring it in. It would take a lot of explaining, and then you would have to watch Halloween 3, and then they're trying to cancel out all those sequels and everything. So it just wouldn't make sense for them to connect those together.
Yeah, I mean,
I love all the nods to the 3 when they show the 3 masks. Fine. Like the trick-or-treaters are always having the witch and the pumpkin and the skull mask on, and I love all that, and it's great Easter eggs for fans. But if he has a little tiny disc in the back of his mask, like what?
Yeah.
Like I'll be pissed.
I don't think that they would go down that road. I think it is nods, and it stands to reason there'll be another nod in this movie, whether it's even a small one, because he's done it in 2018 and he also did it in Kills.
Yeah,
he's a fan. He's a fan of Season of the Witch. He even wants to do Season of the Witch, and the radio tower. I think it's either one of two things. It's either going to be a location, for something that is important that happens. Maybe it could be the finale. I don't know. Although that's I don't know if they would have given that away if that was the location for the finale, but I think it could be some place where something important happens. Who knows? Maybe that's somewhere around where Michael has been for 4 years, kind of hiding out. But it also could be a place of information. It could be a place where, the town gets information. Maybe there's a sighting of Michael, or maybe Allison works at the radio station, or maybe it's a place where they can use that as a way to communicate with each other over the radio. I don't know. But I think it's going to be more likely something realistic like that versus anything with Silver Shamrock. I think that's too far out of the spectrum of what these movies have been. But I will say, going back to this whole idea of what Jamie Lee Curtis has been saying about, it's an ending that will likely angry folks and make them ask questions. And all these types of things. And Nick Castle saying it's a very surprising ending that I don't think people could have ever guessed would happen. It does make you wonder. I mean, what the hell could that be? Because Usually people are thinking one of a couple things, and this is where I'll take our next couple of questions because we have a few in the chat too. Usually it's one of a couple things. Either Laurie's gonna die, or Michael's gonna die, or both of them die, or Michael kills everyone. Usually that, I mean, you know, there's only a finite amount of things I think most people are thinking realistically, you know what I'm saying? So if it's something that we can, you know, and of course it could have been hyperbole. They could have just been, you know, especially Nick Castle, he could have been talking out of his ass. But if we just take what he said at face value, I'm thinking to myself, well, what could that mean? You know, maybe it means that Michael, in those 4 years, Michael doesn't even come back to Haddonfield. Maybe he goes to the next town. Maybe he's headed to Smith's Grove and he's killing out that way. And Laurie and Allison, or I should say Allison, wants to find Michael, hunt him down, you know, because she's obsessed with him. And Laurie's like, no, don't go down that road like I did for 40 years. I don't know. It's a lot of possibilities, but I'm hoping that it's whatever it is, I hope it's done, it's executed properly. And I'm hoping that it is something different than what we've seen, you know. And that would be cool in a franchise that's, you know, 45 years plus old, you know. It's crazy to even think about how long this franchise has been around, you know. So, but let's see. Tim was saying, I honestly want the dream theory to be true. The dream theory. You know, if it's done right, who knows? I mean, you know, I've talked about it. It's interesting for sure. I don't know if they go down that road because it's such a huge risk. It would clean up a lot of things in the franchise, because the biggest reason I have for thinking about it is we know there's going to be more movies down the road. That's probably the one thing everyone can agree on. This is not the last time we will ever see Michael Myers in our lifetime. So when they do more movies, they've got a couple of choices. One choice is to have some type of continuation, which to me doesn't make sense because he's 60 something years old, you know, so how long can that go? So they could reboot the franchise again, which would make the 6th timeline, which is fine. I don't personally have a problem with that, but there are some folks that find it confusing. Or if you did something like the Dream Theory or similar to the Dream Theory, taking it back, you know, to 78, everything's reset. Michael's young again, and it didn't have to be anything supernatural. It didn't have to be anything magical. It didn't have to be anything from outer space. And then you could rock and roll for another 40 years or so. But Crystal, what do you think about that? And then we'll just kind of go around the panel.
I'm torn, you know, it's like the whole, is it easy way out? Is it the lazy way? Is it the and then I watched this creator on YouTube like expand upon it, where he was like, you know, maybe she is in a state asylum after the incident of 78, and it is a dream sequence, or she's put under like with anesthesia or, you know, calming things, and people like, there's somebody who looks like Allison that's a patient there. There's somebody who looks like Karen who's a nurse there. There's somebody who looks like Deputy Hawkins who's a doctor. And it ties into the whole, I saw somebody go down this deep hole with it. And I'm like, okay, well, that might be a way to like round it out for me a little bit. Like that's how you get all these characters and things like that. And, you know, if she did go crazy after those events, like this is really something that could logically happen to somebody. Right. I think it would just piss a lot of people off. Like, because it's just not in the vein of Halloween in the aspect, like, you know, Michael, Laurie, and the weird thing about Halloween is like Laurie and Michael always both win at the end of the day. Like they both come out alive. They both come out not unscathed, but they both kind of make it out to the next movie. They both make it out to the next movie. And I don't know. It's kind of like, it does clear up the timeline issues. So that is a positive thing. It does make Michael young again. There are benefits. There are definitely benefits to it, but I just feel like the fan base isn't going to take it too well, really.
What about you, Kel?
You know, I want to stay as grounded as we can be in this franchise. So no dream, you know, sequences or any of that for me. But what I do think, and we kind of touched on it a little bit earlier, as far as the granddaughter being, 4 years from losing, all, her family members, boyfriends, all of her friends. She is going to be much harder. And I do think we are going to have that switch where Lori sees herself, oh, well, I went through this, back in the 70s, and I see myself, and I know how I was through the 80s and how I was through the 90s, all the way up until now, bitter, losing my daughter, pushing friends away, pushing everyone away and becoming a recluse. But what I think is that also is going to be the catalyst for my theory I said earlier, where the granddaughter is going to go so hard, she is going to be the reason that Lori has to sacrifice herself. Because Lori is going to have to find redemption for herself by saving the granddaughter. And the granddaughter is going to be so distraught, she's going to do something possibly stupid, kind of like she did in Kills, going after, Michael, alone, her and the boyfriend. That might not have been the smartest thing, but hey, everyone was drinking the Kool-Aid, evil dies tonight. So I get it.
That's right.
But I feel that's going to be the catalyst for Lori to have to do one last heroic thing that unfortunately will get her killed, and hopefully will kill Michael. So that's kind of what I see.
All right. How about you, Zoe?
So what would be the point of having the dream theory, which would be just to have like a reset, almost as if it's back to 78?
I think that's one of the things that seems to be one of the biggest points to it. To me, I think that is a big positive to it. I mean, there are some things in the trilogy where, and I know there are a lot of folks, and especially on the channel, I've had a lot of people talk about, leaving comments, especially about kills, because a lot of people, like you said earlier, have had a lot of issues with kills. The fact that David Gordon Green has said that Michael is not superhuman. He is a man. He's at the upper level of a man with I forgot how he worded it, but basically saying he's extraordinarily resilient or whatever. But dog, look,
no, he's supernatural, man.
That's what I'm saying.
Like, it's conflicting for sure.
Right.
Like, what he's saying, and maybe he's trying to say that throw us off about Halloween Ends. Maybe there's something in Ends that we should be. He's trying to like get us off the scent a little bit. So
good point.
I don't believe in directors, man. Like sometimes, because I know going to like Scream, with Scream 5 came out, the radio silence team for sure said some contradicting things that didn't make sense when you watch the movie. So
that's true.
I'm going to take these things with a grain of salt before I see the movie.
Yeah, no, that's true.
But going back to the dream scenario, in that case, if you want to just go back to 78, just reboot the movie. Just if all these issues are caused by this trilogy, if there's another reboot, it erases all those movies if you're going to go back to 1978. And and you would have to go with a new type of characters, because Lori and Jamie Lee Curtis is 70 years old, so she can't go back and be a younger Laurie Strode. So you have to get a new cast of characters in there. So I rather just them reboot it maybe 10 years from now. I think the dream theory is just a little bit too confusing for me, at least.
All right. How about you, Coriander?
Yeah, I'm not I'm not for this dream theory. I think, for me at least, because was it the cop? Was it Hawkins? I'm trying to remember his name.
Yep.
Okay. Yeah. I mean, people forget that he's had history with Michael also.
Right.
So I think the three of these guys are going to kill Michael. And then Michael, this man of evil, will finally become immortal and still wreak havoc. Maybe not like Freddy, but shit could still go down.
He's a ghost.
That's how I think they could start it new. And
so you think it'd almost be like he'll become supernatural at the end?
Yeah. Yep.
Mm-hmm.
Hey, look, we've seen anything is possible. We've seen a lot of weird stuff. Well, not weird, but just a lot of different angles that they've taken, in this franchise. So I'm not saying that it's not possible, but I don't know, man. Like I'm saying, to me, it seems like the movies are going in a certain direction, and the question is, they're coming close to the stop. You know, in other words, the end of Halloween ends. And the question is, for me, is like, is that 1 mile down the road or 3 miles down the road? Like how you get what I'm saying? Kind of like
Yeah.
I have a feeling where it might go, or where it seems like it's going, but I'm just not sure exactly how that stop is going to happen. But that's actually what makes me really excited too about it, because I don't want to know. And with that being said too, I just don't want to know what Michael is. I don't
Yeah.
want to know why. Don't get me wrong, there's a curiosity in there about it, but that's the fun of it, is wondering, you know, what the hell's going on with him? Is he human, or is he not? Is he in between? And if so, how did that happen? Why him? You know, he was 6 years old. He kills Judith.
He's not in between. He
Well,
was
no,
he was human. He was, alive to begin with. He was
no, I know, but
he was born evil,
right. No, I'm just saying
So
the way that he's characterized, you've seen all these different shades of him, you know, in the movies, you know, even in the 78 movie, you know, he was a kid, you know, he's human, he was locked up. So obviously, you know, he's not supernatural, but yet he got shot 6 times and he just, you know, he gets right on
Yeah.
up. Who does that? You know,
The whole town and kills beats him, like basically beats him to death, and he's
Yes.
like, nothing
yes.
happens to him.
Maybe he just does a lot of PCP, man. And he's just like a Hulk, you know. He just, you know.
Or
you can get strength from evil. You know, you can worship shit and it can give you power.
So
So
do you think it'll be
Okay.
something
body
like
armor.
that? Do you think? Well, we know he doesn't have like Roman in Scream 3. He wasn't smart
Yeah.
enough to do that. But Coriander, do you think that that's part of it too? Because some people have talked about, you know, some occult type of stuff going on. Not like Thorn so much, you know, in Curse of Michael Myers, but something that is kind of down that road. Do you think there's a possibility that there's something like that in play with Michael? And if so, would they delve into any of that in Halloween Ends?
I don't know. I'm not saying I don't enjoy these movies, but
Hmm.
I'm hoping this movie is like the end. I can't imagine seeing like 8 more and having any more originality to them, or, I don't know. All these different theories, and sure, it's fun to play and to think about, but it's like, come on, man. It's almost like, when is enough enough, at least in my eyes.
When the money dries
So-
up.
Well, and that's the thing. They're making a lot of money, so this is not gonna be the end.
Yeah.
I agree.
Do we
Well,
all
they
agree
say-
on that?
but-
Well,
It's
they
too
even
bad.
said that the fact that they call him the Shape, in the novelization of 78, there was
Mhm.
like pagan elements, things tied around Halloween, the Irish folklore of when it comes to Halloween and all those kind of things. Like, there was a lot of things that there was like pagan elements like to it. So I guess there could be, but I feel like we would have started seeing those like breadcrumbs in 2018. They kind of laid those in Kills, when she was like, the more he kills, the more
Yes, the more he transcends.
Yeah, the more he transcends.
Mhm.
They were kind of like giving you a little bit something there. But again, if going by the timeline, this is like only really the second time they're like seeing him after 78. Like, they
Right.
met him in 2018 and again. And so, I mean, is there a lot of like folklore about Michael Myers at this point? Like, they might not know his whole story or his whole thing, but they haven't met him that many times theoretically,
Right. In this
so
timeline.
in this timeline. So, but I feel like they should have been laying that in 2018 a little bit harder for fans, maybe just to buy that as like the conclusion. But yeah, his age is a thing. He's a human being, and eventually he has to tap out. I mean, it's just what it is. Like,
Right.
so that's going to be a problem for fans and critics of the franchise that are going to be like, okay, so now he's 74 years old, lifted a firefighter above his head. Like, there's going to be these things. There's going to be people are going to be saying these things. So either he has to have some sort of supernatural element, or he dies. I guess
He needs to die.
Yeah.
It needs to die.
Yes.
Hey man, Michael's
Kill.
got that old man strength, dude. Like,
Doesn't he though?
that's real. Yeah, when you're like
Hey.
60, you get that old man strength. You get that second wind of energy.
The second win.
Till you
That's
trip
true.
and break a hip.
I saw that James Drew Courtney practice session where he was going through the choreography of the firefighter scene, right? James Drew Courtney is in some good shape. Put it this way, man.
Yeah.
I wouldn't want to mess with him, you know,
Yeah,
and
he's big.
so, you know, but so I guess what I'm saying, I mean, for me, it works in this trilogy. You know what I'm saying? It works as far as his age, but again,
for this trilogy, yes.
Yeah. But again,
it's not like he's 94 years old. He's what, 64?
Yeah.
So I mean,
exactly. Yeah. So he's, you know, like you said, he's got that
It's like
second
Arnold.
win.
Yeah.
But again, man, the town, they gave him a whooping, and I'm just like,
They did.
wow.
Yeah, they beat his ass.
And Karen stabbed him right in the base of the neck. And I was like, and he got up, took it out, slashed bracket, and he was like, and what? And I'm like, what?
Have you guys seen the background picture where the lady's holding the iron? Have you guys seen that? Yeah, that shit is like, what are you gonna do with that? Like,
I know.
You gotta get so close up to him to use that.
Right. I know. She hey, look, she wanted to show and prove. She did. She came. She
got a late notice, and she was like, let me grab some real quick.
She's like, what can I bring? Oh,
they just knocked on her door.
She's like the one, like the coworker that brings the napkins to the potluck. Just can't bring anything.
Napkins to the I like that. There's always got to be one.
Yeah.
But yeah, so there's a lot of things going on here. Now, let me go with you, Coriander. We'll go around this way. So another thing that I'm hoping for, and if you have another thing that you want to see in the movie too, you can bring that into this as well. But I am looking for it to be, and I want to make sure I word this carefully. I don't want it to be like it's like a carbon copy of 78, but it would be cool if it has that type of energy. You know what I'm saying? Because 78, although it's a slow burn, and there are some people that are critical of it, you know, myself, I'm not one of them, but some people, you know, especially folks that, you know, are younger, they'll say, oh, what's so great about Halloween? You know, it's like people talk about Halloween. I don't think it's all that great. It's not all that scary, this or that. But I'm hoping that this movie will have some of that type of energy where there's tension. You know, that's one thing that Halloween 78 did have, was a lot of tension, because, and granted, you didn't know what was going to happen because it's the first time you met these characters, but there was a lot of tension as far as when is it going to happen? When is something bad going to happen? There were so many times where you thought it would and it didn't, and vice versa. So I'm hoping that this movie has some of that type of energy, and we also get that character growth from obviously Laurie and Allison and Hawkins and so forth. Is that something that you think can happen in Halloween Ends, Coriander? And also, if you have anything else that you'd like to see.
You know, like I said, I really think Hawkins needs to be involved in this in some way because of his flashback that he had in the last movie, and how it totally like affected his life. So I really hope that, they kick some ass and kill Michael, you know, and you were saying a whole bunch of stuff that I was kind of listening to, but not. I'm sorry. It's been one of those days, and we just got off another stream.
I'm just saying, do you think it'll have that type of energy like Halloween 78?
I hope so. I hope the music is good in it. I really do. I hope there's tension. I mean, not too many movies, like I always say, like get me ooh, or you know, I don't know, affect me in a way that it's like, wow, I haven't been affected this way in a long time. So that would be great if it could actually move me in that way. Sure. That would be cool, actually. So, but who knows, you know, that's tough. That's a tough one to even do. So,
yeah. How about you, Zoe? Do you think it could get like that? And is there anything else that you'd like to see in Halloween Ends?
I would like to see them do something unique with the opening. I think I had a live stream a couple weeks ago. I would like them to kind of have like a Scream-esque opening, like an opening kill. We get to see Michael stalk maybe a young babysitter in her house, and maybe that's the first time people have witnessed or I've heard of a murder in Haddonfield, and people are kind of scared and they're worried, like, oh, is Michael back? Isn't he? And it kind of gets the town rumbling a little bit. I like to see something like that. It's kind of a stalker scene, maybe like a 5-minute scene of Michael just, toying with his victim in some type of way. I like to see something like that. So I think that could be interesting for sure.
I agree. Absolutely. That would be cool, to be something
different,
fresh.
man. We haven't had like a boom impact scene in a Halloween movie in a while. Usually Halloween movies, they kind of take their time.
Yeah.
I think they can maybe take a book from Scream and kind of just implement something like that into the beginning of their movie.
Yeah, because I definitely think that Michael there's not going to be as big of a body count in this movie.
I agree.
He's not going to be going buck wild like he did in Halloween Kills. So I think that in order to keep, especially for, newer fans, and especially young fans, I think something like that could help, balance the fact out that it won't be a big body count, is to have like an opening with some, powerful impact to start it off. And then, you get into your character development. He'll still be killing. He'll still be doing what he's got to do. But it won't be like, at least that's my opinion. I don't think it'll be like Kills. So that's a great, I like that idea.
Yeah, we get the opening scene, and we get the famous title card of the pumpkin. I think that'd be pretty cool.
Yes, I agree. How about you, Kill?
I think the pace and body count are going to be lower. I think the pace is going to be slower, and I hope it's a return to form like the 78 one. I do feel that what we've seen from the last two movies, for it to be like an opening kill of some sort of impact, it has to be like a main character. It has to be some sort of character that we're like, oh, Allison's dead. Wow, did not see that coming. Like,
Do you think it'll be like Lindsay?
Well, I just feel like if it starts off and, the town of Haddonfield hasn't had any deaths, sort of like what Zoe said, in a while, for it to, at least for me, for it to hold weight, it can't just be Pam, blonde girl down the street, in her kitchen or something.
Right.
Like, I just feel if they go that route, it's going to have to be someone, if not one of the main characters, like, Hawkins or Laurie or Allison, someone related to them, like somebody related to Hawkins, like, his niece or something like that. I just feel that they're going to have to tie it to at least someone that we care about.
Like Lindsay. Lindsay's there too.
Yeah, exactly. Someone that we would be like, oh, okay, for it to kind of go further and have that gravitas. So, but I do hope the body count is lower. I hope the pace is that stalker pace that we had from 78, because that would be a perfect way to just come totally full circle. So.
Okay. All right.
I think actually, like, if you were to do that opening kill, it would kind of establish that, oh, this movie is going to be more like 78. It establishes Michael being a stalker again. So I think for this, like, if theoretically, if this scene were to happen, that's what its purpose is for. It's to kind of like, okay, we're going to bring this back to 78, have Michael just kind of creep around a house a little bit. I don't think it necessarily needs to be a main character, like you said. It definitely would provide a little bit more impact, but I think people would be kind of disappointed if Lindsay got killed really early, because we just saw her in Kills for a very brief amount of time. And before that, we haven't seen her since the original. So to kill a main character might anger some people, because we haven't really spent a lot of time with these characters.
Right. I don't think Lindsay would die in the beginning, because the whole reason they're bringing her back was they wanted to, because being so well received in Kills, and from what I understand, her part was increased a bit. So I don't think she'd be. Someone in the chat, I think, Cynthia was saying, do you think Lindsay will be a huge factor? I think there's a chance that she'll definitely have, a bigger role. I don't know how big of a role, because I think you gotta kind of balance it out, though, because we've got Laurie, we've got Allison, and I really think, like Coriander was saying, I think Hawkins is going to have something. I don't know what, but it would. They built up too much to not have some type of payoff with him. Whatever it may be. I'm not saying he's not going to kill Michael, but maybe he might aid in it or something. He's got to have some part in it. Some weight.
Here's a fun fact about Lindsay, or Kylie Richards, is she stopped her Botox treatments before kills, so her face would have expressions during all the scenes for her. So she stopped her Botox treatments like a year prior to filming, so she'd have expressions on her face and be able to like do the screams and the cries and everything. She went on record saying that she stopped all her treatments for that.
Wow, that's crazy.
Dedication right there.
Yeah,
That is
method actor.
Right? Chef saying, I'm not sure what David Gordon Green has planned for the radio tower, but he does like to have revelations around locations. There's a plot point around a roller coaster in an episode of The Righteous Gemstones. Yeah, I definitely think that there'll be something with it. I think it's going to be. I think it's going to be a place where something is going to happen. No doubt about that at all. Ben saying, I like the idea of urban explorers on the outskirts of Haddonfield, and they stumble across Michael's cave, making him go on the move again. That's possible too. You know, that is very possible. You know, because you also have those moments too where Michael, he just stops, you know, he just zones out, you know, like when they showed in the recreation scene, you know, when he came out of the steps and walked outside. I mean, he could have, you know, done whatever, like he did with the firefighters. Of course, you know, the cops had guns on him, but he just stood there, just like he did as a kid, you know, when he killed Judith, when he comes out of his house and he's just standing there and he's totally just staring, you know. So maybe, and obviously, you know, he was incarcerated for years. You know, maybe it is those moments where he's like got that switch, you know, on and off, you know, like Loomis said, it's as if he was waiting for some silent alarm to trigger him off, you know. Yeah. I mean, it's kind of weird. Like, what do you guys think of that? Because maybe in the 4 years, maybe he's killing, but maybe he's also chilling out as well.
You know? Yeah, I always thought just if Michael's chilling for 4 years, we do get the cave dweller code name for this film, so that could be alluding to something that Michael's kind of a secluse, and maybe he kind of picks and chooses when he kills people, and maybe he's just kind of got all that rage out of him right now. Maybe he's a little bit more calmer. But I always liked how Halloween tackled how realistic they are with the portrayal of a serial killer, because most serial killers, they get kind of a gratification out of it, almost kind of an arousal out of it, almost kind of a in a weird way. And Michael, he specifically has a type. He kills specifically people that look like his sister. That's what attracts him to Laurie in the first place. That kind of what catches his attention. So I'm curious to see how they're kind of going to expand upon Michael. I'm very curious to see, like you said, the whole silent alarm thing going on in his head. Like, what triggers him? You know, maybe all these questions are kind of built up and we don't get any answers to them. Maybe all these questions are brought up and we don't get any answers, which was something that I always like about Michael, the mystique, the mystery.
Yeah. I mean, I think that's what makes him so different than the other icons, because we know the motivation behind Freddy, the motivation behind Jason, Chucky, Pinhead, Ghostface. You know,
Michael's the only one with no motive, and that's
he's
scary.
The only one. He's the only one. You know,
it's crazy because without having Halloween 2, the connection between Laurie and Michael being brother and sister isn't there.
Right.
Like this is just somebody that, you know, killed somebody, and
he's a murdering drifter, pretty much.
Yeah, and where now there is a legitimate connection now with Allison and Michael. I mean, could Allison be like Laurie Strode 2.0? I mean, they're grooming her that. It seems like they're grooming her for that, at least to be some of, you know, if there is a continuation or something. I don't know. I just don't want to see the franchise necessarily. I mean, it's going to be sad to see it end. I feel like, unfortunately, the way the business is, it's going to end with Laurie dying. But if it ends with Michael dying, it has to be super believable. Like, how was this woman, or even if it was Hawkins, Laurie, and Allison, how were those three people able to do it and the whole town of Haddonfield wasn't able to do it? So, like, it needs to be believable. It needs to be, that's the only reason why I feel like I'm leaning towards, even though I hate it, the fact that Laurie's going to be the one who bites it in this movie, because he survives everything. So if there's no believable way I can see then that Lori comes out on top in this without it being, how is she the one that pulls this off? You know?
That's a good question. I mean, what do
She
you
has
guys?
the help of other people, though. It's not just her. You know,
Yeah.
you've got all these other people that have reasons now that want Michael dead. You know, so maybe they all can pull together and do
but
it.
so did the town.
Yeah.
They
And
were
Right.
saying Evil Dies Tonight. It was like 20 of them. With
Yeah,
guns,
well,
bats,
no, they were stupid.
irons.
Those townspeople were stupid. They should have
They
fucking
were.
shot him in the head first thing once he started moving, and it would have been over. Even though he did get shot twice in the head, in the eyes, but
Yeah,
so
in
I
part
would at
two.
least do at least 6 shots to the head and then see what happens. Yeah. Then cut his head off. That's what I'd do. Yeah. Then he'd
I'd
definitely be
burn
dead.
it.
I'll tell you this, man. I don't see them, if they kill him, I don't see them doing the decapitation like H2O. I mean, they
No.
could, but it
They're
would
gonna
just be.
split him from groin to his throat. That's what they're gonna do. They're gonna put him in a guillotine and stretch him out and pull him in half and
No, they're not
all
gonna
this fun
do
stuff.
that. But what do you guys think about that? Like, as far as, you know, if you know, Lori, you know, how could she overcome Michael? What do you think, Hill? I mean, I guess it goes back to the question of, I mean, is he a man or is he more? And will they allude to it? Will they explain it? What will make sense? What won't make sense? It is interesting to think about how they can make this all come together.
Yeah, I mean, look, Lori had a great plan in the 2018 one that almost worked, but those firefighters are too good in Haddonfield. They are brave men and women, and they as good of a job as they did, it was also their undoing. Like, hey, you know, so they got rewarded by getting aced out by Michael, unfortunately.
They did, yeah.
You know, I don't know what angle Lori will take with this one, because I don't see them doing the same thing that they did in 2018, where she's plotting and planning and essentially has a jigsaw trap house to kind of, you know, kill Michael and entrap him. I think it's going to be, honestly, you know, I think it's going to be a more desperate type of kill, where it's going to be like one of those Sarah Connor Terminator kills. It's like, okay, we just happen to be in this place where I'm just gonna use something and I'm just gonna crush the shit out of you, or something where there's some finality to it. So, you know, sort of like what Coriander was just saying, like shoot him 6 times in the head or something like that. Just something so that when everybody turns around the other way, like they always do, the body's still there. You know, so
no moving around this time.
No,
Chef was
not
saying
this time.
Karen's kill from Michael Myers' perspective as an homage to 78's sister kill should be the opening to ends. Oh, that's interesting. What do you guys think of that? That could be interesting.
Yeah.
Didn't they already do that though?
Like I mentioned one time with you, Knight, is that the video montage they put out on the CinemaCon where they showed the fight between Lori and Michael, and they highlight. I think that is going to be like an Act 1 thing. Like when she was at hospital, after she got picked up the phone, or she called Karen, and Michael was under breathing on the phone. She left that hospital not to go home and drink some tea. She's going to go kick some ass. Like she left, walking out of the hospital, and she was going to go get Michael. And I think she knows to go to the Michael Myers house, like Little John, Big John's house. Yeah. Her daughter's in trouble. I think just like every other Halloween movie where the one bleeds into the other one, I think that there's going to be a huge intro fight scene, kind of like a Scream kind of intro thing happen, you know, and then we're going to bring it back, dial it back a little bit, and have like the 4-year jump, have you know, the calming times, and kind of, you know, build on the suspense and have the stalking, lurking, where's Michael? And then we're going to have Act 3 where the whole series is like basically decided who wins, who dies, kind of thing. But I think out the gate is going to start some shit right away, I think.
Yeah. No, I agree. I think that footage that they showed at the con, that can't be the finale of the movie, because, and again, that's also very reminiscent of 2018, when they fought in the kitchen, in
Yeah.
2018. So I think you're right. This will be bleeding in from Halloween Kills, and I think it's going to be in the opening, or close to the opening.
I think
That
you'll
would
get
make
everything up for what's going to happen. I don't know
Mhm.
how to break up necessarily, but and then they're going to bring it back to 4 years pandemic. There's going to be some pandemic in there, they said,
Mhm.
and then bringing it to like current day kind of thing.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think
See, I think
the
Michael's
whole
been
pandemic thing. Oh, sorry.
Yeah, at the end of like Halloween Kills, I think he hopped in an RV. He's gone sightseeing for 4 years, checking out shit, healing. And yeah, and I think that's what's going to happen in those 4 years,
he's going to be hiding somewhere. That's what
No,
he's
come
doing in
on.
the
How
4
many
years.
times have we seen him like drive from Haddonfield to fucking California? You know what I mean?
Once.
He's out tooling around doing some shit.
And that was ridiculous. We talked about that on the H2O episode. You know damn well. Jeez, man.
Remember, like
I'm sorry.
people ask like how can he drive a car, but like no one asks like how did he answer Karen's cell phone? Like he had never even seen like a cell phone or touch one, right?
Wait, hold on.
Well-
Answering the phone and driving a car, two different realms. You
Yeah,
cannot
right?
compare.
Because the thing says
You just press a
answer.
button.
I'm
Right?
like, I don't know. I just feel like he
So-
didn't know how to even work that thing.
Well, you could imagine that even when he was incarcerated, he probably saw some things,
Maybe, yeah.
technology of sorts, green means go, red means stop.
He said, okay,
So with the footage that they showed at the CinemaCon with the fight between Michael and Laurie,
Mhm.
where do you think that'll be in the movie? Do you think that'll be in the beginning or the middle or the end?
So, from what I've gathered from the footage, I think it's obvious that not obvious, but I think they're going to have multiple encounters. I don't think that's going to be the climax of the film. I think that's probably maybe towards the middle or towards the beginning.
Mhm.
Yeah, maybe just Laurie maybe spots Michael and follows him into a house or something, and we get kind of a fight that way. But
Mhm.
regarding the kind of the ending of the movie about how Michael will die, I think would be a pretty cool idea was so in Halloween 2018, it's more of a choreographed type of planned out way for Laurie to kill Michael. She has all these trapped rooms and all these
Mhm.
sophisticated traps and all these things. All that's gone now because her house is burned down.
Mhm.
So maybe the ending of Halloween Ends is more of an animalistic, personal style of trying to kill Michael. It's kind of more brutal. It's more hands on. It's Michael really fighting with Laurie. It gets really physical compared to how the 2018 ending was, where it was more choreographed and more kind
Right.
of planned out. This one's maybe just more chaos and it's just like a fight for survival, just her against him, or maybe Allison and her against him, or whatever main characters are going to be alive at that point.
Yeah, no, I agree. I think it's gonna be desperate. I think it's gonna be desperate.
Yeah, I think so too.
Moments.
I think they're all gonna go like Axe Gang, like in Kung Fu Hustle, and start dancing.
What is up with you, man?
chopping
Come on. What are you doing?
I'm sorry.
You're not
You
gonna
just keep
do
saying
that.
choreograph, and that movie just popped in my head, and
They
that would
did
be a
have-
sight to see, man.
They did have a good
Yeah.
choreographed dance. That was crazy.
Right?
I want it to be like round 12 of a boxing match where you're just tired and you're just trying to get all your energy out to defeat your opponent. It's just
Yeah.
I want it to be like that. Just really just super personal. That's what I
Yeah.
want to see.
That would be cool.
Mhm.
Absolutely. Byron saying, would you like a sequel to Halloween Resurrection after Halloween ends? No.
I think Halloween Resurrection is so bad that it's good. It is hilarious. If you have a 6-pack of beer and you gather some friends, Halloween Resurrection is a glorious time. There you go. Yes,
I
sir.
knew it.
Yes,
You
sir.
do. Sooner or later.
I
It's a great
knew it.
time.
I was
a
trying to
great
hold
time.
back for so long.
I
tried. The guys in the chat, they were talking about Eric says Conal Cochran shows up with Stonehenge, plays the Silver Shamrock song. Michael's mask turns his head into snakes and bugs. Busta Rhymes then gives an awful interview to the reporters. The end.
Perfect. Love it.
Ginger Ninja said he's a killer shark in baggy ass overalls. Right? Oh man.
Yes, sir.
Yeah,
He's the best part of that movie.
He is. I mean, he really.
It's so funny.
It's true. Like when you look back at it, look, he was doing what he does, you know. But I don't think. But to seriously answer the question, I don't think they're gonna go back to. Well, definitely not that movie. You know, if they were to go back, I think the only way that they could go back to what's happened before is maybe some type of side timeline with Jamie Lloyd, you know, maybe after 4 or maybe, you know, redoing 4 and it's a whole new character arc for her as you know, that's like one of the only with Danielle, of course. With
I
Danielle
hope they don't bring her back because she wasn't in any of these other movies, you know, just because she was maybe as a different character, but not as Jamie. No.
That would be cool too, to see her as a different character.
At the time, like if they really did something really good, but they made her like just like catatonic quiet the next movie, or like so there was an opportunity.
Halloween 5.
Yes.
But
Jesus
they didn't
Christ.
do anything with her. It just sucks that they didn't do anything. Like they had a chance, like or maybe had a chance to go a different route a little bit, but 5 just like ruined it.
Yeah, I mean that's the thing. They've had a lot of missteps, you know, with where they were gonna go, and then they go in a different direction, and it's like all this, you know, ping-ponging back and forth. That's why I'm hoping with this movie, whatever the ending is, it just has to be executed in a way where you can at least say, okay, I see what they were trying to do. You may not, you know, totally love it or whatever, but if they can just kind of keep some type of consistency in what they're trying to do with the story, I think that could make this trilogy pretty special when you think about, you know, in the overall sense of the franchise. Because, you know, I mean, I love the franchise, but like I said, we've had some times where it's been some wacky stuff going on. So that's what I'm hoping.
Did you see that rumor that because the production company of the Halloween trilogy and Black Phone are the same, that we're gonna get the trailer for Halloween Ends for Black Phone? Did you see that?
Black Phone comes out in June, right?
June 23rd, 24th.
Yeah. I would say that's safe, to be honest with you.
Or the day before it's going to release. Like,
yeah, that would make sense because that would be the time to do it. Because at that point, you'd be 4 months, a little bit less than 4 months out. So they're going to have to start, you know, because, you know, Halloween Ends. I mean, there's a lot of excitement about it, but, you know, we're all like, you know, super, you know, part of that fandom. But for the general audience, you know, the general folks, that's who they want to try to grab, so they probably would do it then. That would make sense.
Do you want to like if they like say you go see Black Phone in the theater, do you want to see the trailer for Ends? Like how deep do you want to like know kind of the ins and outs? Because people said the Scream trailer ruined it for a lot of people. So
it did.
Do you want to
in
see
hindsight? Yeah.
Do you want to go in blind? Like how are you feeling with that?
Personally speaking, and we can all answer this. Personally speaking, I mean, trailers, they can give away too much, and it's too bad. But unfortunately, that's just the time we live in. So there's not much that can be done about that. But if this trailer was like what they showed at the con, from what I understand, that would be all I would need, you know, because what it did was it showed flashbacks to 78. It showed some scenes from 2018 and kills, and then they showed that confrontation. You know what I'm saying? And then that was it, you know, and talked about, you know, all the that is leading up to this. And then that's it. Nothing else. It didn't show any, from what I understand, doesn't show anything else. That would be the type of trailer I'd be very happy to see. And I wouldn't even want to see another trailer, you know?
Yeah.
What do you guys think about that? I'll start with you, Coriander.
You know, I don't want to see a trailer. I want to be going completely blind. You know, I like back in the day, they didn't really do trailers. I mean, like we all say, they give so much away. And yeah, I don't really care to see a trailer.
Yeah. How about you, Zoe?
In the realm of what I do for YouTube covering horror movies, I pretty much have to, or else I'm just gonna get spoiled by it anyway. So
Right.
people are gonna put in my comments. I'm gonna be on live streams and we're gonna talk about it. So it's kind of inevitable for me. I prefer not to see it, but also like I'm very curious to get the first glimpse, the first look of the trailer. But I do agree, especially the Scream 5 trailer. In hindsight, it ruined a lot of pieces in that movie, unfortunately. So
yes,
and it really depends on who's editing the trailer, what the studio wants in the trailer. So it's trailers are not made for people like us who are hardcore fans of these franchises. They're made for the general population, that the guy living in the middle of Illinois who just wants to go see a movie on a weekend.
Right.
That's what these trailers are made for.
Yeah, that guy that's like, oh, Jamie Lee Curtis is in a Halloween movie.
Yeah,
I haven't seen her since 1978. Like, yeah, that's who they're trying to reach out to, and they try to feed off of the emotions of those folks that might have like a very small connection to the movie or the characters or the actors. So I agree. How about you, Kill?
I mean, sort of like what Zoe said. I mean, pretty much what we do on YouTube, we kind of have to watch trailers. But me personally, I try to stay away from trailers as much as possible because, if it's a movie I know I want to see, and let's just say I watched the teaser, you got me. Hey, it looks good. I really don't want to know any more about it because everywhere you turn nowadays, whether it's on social media, you're at work, or you overhear a conversation, there's so many ways for things to get spoiled. Then there's so many ways for you to start thinking up the movie you want in your head, and then when you go see it, oh, I didn't like this movie. Well, why? Well, because they didn't make the movie that I imagined, or the movie that I think they should have made. So, sort of like what Coriander also said, trailers back in the day, they didn't give away as much. They kind of showed you what the vibe was, and that's it. That's all you got. And then on top of that, to see the trailer, you have to go to a movie. You can't just pull up your phone, at 5 a.m. in the morning because you can't sleep and you're watching trailers and then tweeting about all the things in it and so forth. So yeah, I think less is more.
Yeah, I agree. How about you, Crystal?
Like, I guess because my Twitter is like all just horror and my YouTube is all horror, and I was like in a tizzy when X came out. Everyone was just like gushing, and I was like, oh my gosh, sometimes you get yourself overhyped to see things, and you walk out like, okay, you were like euphoric to start watching it because you heard all these things, and maybe you could be underwhelmed because you yourself built up all the possibilities of what this means and things, and I'm number one to do that. I will do that all the time, especially when I'm really excited about a franchise or a director. I will get myself in like a tizzy about it. So I'm torn because I'm really excited to see a trailer. Like, if I could see the trailer that CinemaCon had, that sounds amazing. I definitely want to visually see that. But I don't want any inkling of an Act 3 in my trailer. Like, I don't even want to think I saw an Act 3. Like, because I don't want to spoil it. But again, it's what I like. It's what I read about every day. So I feel like I'm going to end up watching it. I just hope it doesn't just ruin it for fans. But if David Gordon Green is a Carpenter fan, hopefully he has some sort of say or control that he could just be like, pull back a little bit. Don't give it all away. Like,
I hope so.
Yeah, maybe if he has any sort of say, he'll say, leave some for the fans. Don't.
Yeah, I mean, I hate it when they ruin stuff with trailers. It's so annoying.
Yeah,
it's pretty hard for directors to have that say because all their job is really just to write essentially and direct a talent. So they have no part of the marketing for these movies. It's all up to the studio and who they decide to edit these films. Yeah, so it kind of sucks, to be honest with you.
The action sells too. I mean, they're not gonna want to see all the flowery
stuff. Yeah.
Yeah, even Kevin Feige of Marvel, you know, he said he was upset about the trailers for Doctor Strange, saying that,
Yeah.
you know, he thought that they gave away a little too much in the trailers, which
We'll
which
see
they
him in
did.
Niagara Falls, guys. Come on. Taking pictures,
What?
signing autographs.
What?
I'm just
George,
saying.
George saying, what if Laurie and Michael team up in this one? Nah, I
Brother
don't
and
know.
sister teaming up.
Tag team.
I don't know about that. And hey, we got a $5 super chat
Hey,
from
woo-hoo.
Tim. What's going on? Saying, craziest theory, the high tension theory. Michael died in the basement in 2018. Laurie has been the shape ever since. She is mentally oblivious of it. That is that is a high tension theory. That is super
Oh, you know we
crazy.
love high tension.
We do. That was a great movie. Even the twist, I could deal with the twist. Some people didn't like the twist. I was okay with it because I just enjoyed the movie so much. I don't know, man. That wow. Oof.
I just blew up. You're like,
But Tim,
but she did say she's done with it, so you know.
yeah, Tim, thank you so much for the super chat. We really appreciate it, man. That was really, really cool. Let me just do Baby Can You Dig Your Man one time here. Hold on one second.
Baby, can you dig your man? He's a righteous man.
Don't let go.
Thanks so much, Tim. That is funny. But that is a crazy theory, man. I don't know. That's the craziest theory I think I might have heard, you know? Because it's like,
Yeah.
wow. Yeah, I don't know, man. One thing I don't want to see as well, and this will be one of the last things I want to throw out to you guys as we finish up here, is at the end of the movie, Michael passing on the evil. You know what I mean? That's one thing that I'm not a big fan of either. I don't know how you guys feel about it, but I just don't. It just
He's not going
doesn't.
to need to pass on the evil. He's going to die, and then he's going to come back, and he's going to be twice as evil. You know, he's going to be
Well, no. I'm
worse.
just no. What I'm saying is, if that was something that they did, I'm saying that's something I would not want to see. You know, him passing it on. Some people have said, and I even had a video too. I've heard people say he's going to pass on the evil to Allison, you know, and they always talk about some of the little breadcrumbs that they've shown, like at the end of 2018 when she had the knife in her hand and the camera zoomed in on that. And of course, how she went buck wild at the end of Kills, you know, going after Michael, which was totally reckless and so forth. What do you guys think? If they went that way, which I don't think they would, you know, or it might be something that they just allude to, you know, do you think that would be something you'd want to see?
I viewed the ending of 2018. You viewed Allison holding a knife as Michael passing on the evil to her.
No, well, I'm saying
saying?
some people took it like that, or took it as the beginning of that idea that at the end of Ends, that you know, if she were to kill him, or even if Laurie kills him, or if Laurie sacrifices herself to kill Michael, that somehow that she will be infected by the evil, you know, not necessarily saying she's going to become the next Michael Myers, but,
Right. I
know.
think she might be affected by the evil in the way of the way her grandmother did, just being overly protective, overly just fixated on killing Michael. And I think that is very unhealthy. Just having overfixation about something so negative and then holding on to that trauma is something that a
Right.
lot of people struggle with. Holding on to trauma, not letting go, and just moving on with your life is a difficult thing for everyone to do. And I think that's something that hits home to a lot of people. I think everyone kind of struggles with some sort of trauma, whether it's physical, mental. It's hard to get past that. It took, you know, I'm assuming it's taking Laurie 40 years to get past what happened to her in 1978. So
Right.
that's very tough, man. I think that's a theme that I really do like in this trilogy, is trying to overcome your past.
I agree with that. I mean, it's definitely something that they've really tried to touch upon, and I think it does show, you know, a certain level of maturity as far as what the film is trying to do. What about you, Crystal and Kill? What do you guys think?
I'm interested to see how this all affected Allison, like what she's been going through, because in I believe Kills, right? She or no, 18 or what, I can't recall, but Lori gets money for the podcasters, $3,000. She gives it to Allison, and she was making use it for college, and Lori's like, fuck college.
Right.
Do you know what I mean? So this girl was like college bound, like pretty straight laced girl, like just living her high school life, and she was, had pretty stable house and things, and this completely flipped it on its head. Like this could, you can either become strong from that or unraveled from that. So, it just. I'm really interested in Allison's trajectory, whether it's another with Halloween or the way she finishes out this trilogy, because she's really has a lot of just intricacies, more than her mother ever did in the movie.
True.
And I feel like Lori and Allison in these 3 movies have just, Allison has grown exponentially, but I feel as though Lori's coming down and Allison's building up, and I feel like there's going to be a trade-off soon. It's leading you to see that maybe it's Lori's time, and then Allison kind of is like that 2.0 kind of thing. Like she's definitely changing, and it just depends on how she takes all this, good or bad.
Absolutely. How about you, Kill? What do you think of that?
I think Allison, like I said earlier, it's going to be the transference where she's ramping up, Lori's coming down. But I think one thing Allison has that Lori didn't have is she has some sort of figure to look at to kind of navigate that. Like, do I want to turn out like my grandmother? Hey, my grandmother is the best teacher I could have to help me ramp up.
Right.
And it all really is going to depend on how Lori handles it, because Lori might handle it by looking at her, not wanting her to go so far to the darkness and wanting her to live some sort of semblance of a normal life, whatever that may be with all the loss she's experienced recently. But her and her grandmother, they've had a great relationship ever since the first movie in 2018. So it's just going to be really interesting to see the dynamic of how it is now, 4 years later, after her losing her mom, boyfriend, other friends, and the fact that Michael is still out there. How will she handle it?
I think there could be some really good moments between these 2 actresses dealing with that, because like I said, and I could be totally wrong, but I don't think they're going to portray them in a similar fashion. I really think Allison is going to become a darker character, and I think Lori will have some healing, and I think there could be some really cool scenes between these 2 actresses as far as how they're both dealing with all this stuff. And you could see Allison, especially being the younger, maybe having some resentment about that, you know what I mean? And obviously, that could be some good stuff for her as an actress to work with.
Yeah.
What were you going to say, Crystal?
The family members who have tragedy that happened in their house, and they come out acting completely different, each one of them,
Right.
They all have a process, and, I think that, or when you're in a relationship and one of you is, upset or, angry, the other one tries to bring you down, that could be a, Lori Allison thing. Like, it's going to be interesting, especially if this is like a slow burn kind of movie. There might be more relational things in it than action.
I think it will be.
Yeah, that'd be even more interesting too, especially because 78 had those vibes too.
Yeah.
There's a lot of, with the friends and conversations and talking about dating, and they kind of lost that with the other movies, and if back to that, that's great. Yeah.
I totally agree. One last thing I wanted to pull up here. This was kind of funny. I saw this. It was I Am the Ice Lord. He says, I have a feeling Michael Myers will kill himself at the end. Like, wouldn't that be a bombshell? Do you think there's any chance of that?
How would he kill himself?
No, there's no chance of that. I don't see that.
Maybe he'll jump off the radio tower. I'm joking.
Ooh, it'll be like Cable Guy, right? When he falls and lands on that satellite, it impales him.
I'm totally joking. I don't foresee that. But it would be, like I said, I'm really interested to see what they come up with, because it could go in so many damn directions. Seriously, I mean, you know, of course, I don't think it'd be the type of thing where, you know, they're fighting Michael and all of a sudden he just takes a knife and he just stabs himself, you know, but maybe it's something where in the movie, you know, maybe they show some things, you know, when he's staring into his reflection, and maybe we get not an explanation, but maybe a little bit more insight into what is he seeing, you know, what is he staring at? Why does he start and stop? Why does he, you know, when he stops, why does he stop?
Like POV, like flashback, like his flashback. You know,
Yeah.
we've had a Hawkins flashback. We've had
Yep.
a lot of people flashback in these movies, but maybe what set him off, you know, just
Yeah.
flashbacks through his perspective.
Yeah, I mean, I think there's a way they could show some of those things or a couple of those things without giving us the whole, you know, kit and caboodle, you know, and then who knows, maybe at the end he does do something like that. I don't know. I don't think that'll happen, but I don't want to say it's totally impossible because wow, you know, too much. Tyler saying, what'd you think of Halloween 4? Halloween 4 was pretty good. I enjoyed it.
I think it's underrated for sure.
Yeah.
It has honestly one of the best endings in all the franchises.
Right?
It's and then they kind of undo it in 5, which is just a different animal, a whole different video.
Yeah, absolutely.
But 4's great. I like 4 a lot.
Yeah.
If anybody like Loomis to shoot a kid, like that's, I mean,
and he was going to do it too.
Oh,
he popped her, he almost killed her.
Yeah,
he was going to do it, and I talk about this a lot in Coriander Kill. You know, when we talked about Halloween 4, the way Donald Pleasance was showing his emotion when he no, and you really felt it. You could tell that he is like, oh my God, this shit is going to happen again. I have got to be the one to do the most despicable thing ever and shoot this little girl because I know what's going to happen, what's going to come from this. It was a great ending. When I first saw that as a kid, I was just like, what? You know, and I thought it was very well done.
Yeah, I use that clip of Donald Pleasance saying no all the time in my videos just for something that like I hate. I'll like insert that clip. It's great. Yeah.
Oh man.
If anybody who's watching has never seen that extended 78 movie, which you can find for free on YouTube, of 78 Halloween, there's some great scenes with Dr. Loomis, like talking to the doctors.
Yes.
With Michael that I never saw in the original, which I love. And you get a little bit more perspective from him, and he is invested and he does know Michael. And there's things where he walks in and he's like, you fooled them, Michael, didn't you? Like, and you know, it shows a little bit more of his connection and drive because, you know, he did seem like almost obsessively crazy about Michael, but you know, it showed more of that and where it came from. And I had more appreciation for it for sure.
Yeah, absolutely, man. I mean, he's just such a good character. That is the one thing that I do miss in the movies is, you know, that gravitas that he brought, not only as the you know, the character, but obviously Donald Pleasance as an actor. You know, he really seemed to kind of level things up quite a bit. And it's, you know, it is missed. But anyways, that's about all we got for our discussion of some of the things that, you know, that we think can happen, the things that we want to happen in Halloween Ends. And like I said, it's pretty varied and it's just exciting. It's so exciting. We don't know. And hopefully when we get that trailer, which could be in just a matter of weeks, I'm just hoping they don't give away too much. I don't want to see, like in Kills, showing the firefighter scene. I think that was a mistake. You know, I know it was a different situation because of the pandemic and because they weren't able to you know, only release in theaters and stuff like that. But I hope they don't show anything big like that in the trailer. You know, I want to try to go in as blind as possible, and I think that would be really, really cool. So
yeah, I agree.
Yeah. I hope, fingers crossed. Fingers are crossed big time. But anyways, for you guys in the chat, thanks for hanging out with us. We really appreciate it. Please give the video a like. We would greatly appreciate that. It helps support the channel. And also leave us a comment in the comment section. Let us know what you think about, you know, a lot of these crazy thoughts and theories. So many things out there. I saw a lot of people in the live chat talking about tons of different ways that this thing could go. So please leave us a comment and give us your thoughts. Check out Zoe's channel. I've got his link in the description. He rocks. And by the way, Zoe, thanks for coming on. It was
Oh
glad
yeah,
to finally
man.
get you on here. We got to do this again.
Oh, no doubt, man. No doubt. Thank you for having me.
Absolutely, absolutely. And Crystal, give the folks an idea of what you're venturing on with your podcast.
I do a podcast. It's been weekly. It's called Fear on Film, and it's horror films, and it's on Spotify. You can find me on Twitter. Like, I'm contemplating starting YouTube, but I don't know if I want to go down it. I'm still worried about that whole thing. But as of right now, Spotify and Twitter all the time. So
Awesome.
All right. Very, very cool. And for you guys, thanks so much. HR saying great stream. Thank you so much. We appreciate that. I'm the Ice Lord saying thanks for shouting out my crazy theory. No problem at all, man. Look, it's great hearing these theories because it does make you sit back and think a little bit. And who knows, maybe soon we'll be finding out if anything, if it happens. Byron saying awesome live stream. Thank you so much. We appreciate that. But anyways, guys, we're going to head out here. Thank you for hanging out with us. And if you're watching this, if you're listening to this, you are the Night Watch. Peace out, guys.
Bye.
Peace.